See if it shits itself. There we go. All right, everybody. Welcome to fucking Jaded Gamershow. Three jaded gamers bicker and bitch about everything because you wouldn't stop asking for it.
Yeah.
It hasn't even been a fucking year.
Hold us out of retirement.
It hasn't even been a year. That's how frustrating that is for me.
Yeah.
It hasn't even been a year. You didn't even give me a year to rest. And then I come back and try to do something a little bit more high quality, and all you two pieces of shit do is give me shit for how bad the stream is. Oh, come watch this train wreck.
Only thing I bitch about is how I don't know how to mute my own computer.
That's also very, very true. Yes,
I'm just here as eye candy and to run this stream.
Maddie, you'll be reading questions out of the chat.
How are we putting the person who can't fucking spell on the chat?
Well, because it's fun. People can make comments about how you can't fucking spell. It'll be fantastic.
Thanks.
Maddie is a 77-year-old man somehow trapped in a much younger body. Like, he's just like, I don't understand the internets and the Googles. Lang.
My Google Foo is great when I can spell what I'm looking for correctly.
So here's the thing. This is very much a pilot episode and tech demo, in case you haven't figured this out yet. It's very possible.
Yeah, I don't even have the mini bar set up right beside my.
Well, I know
yet.
It's very possible.
I'm gonna mix drinks live on stream.
Well, that's up to you. That's fucking next stream, dude. That's what you bring to the productions. If there are sound and video delays, let us know that there are sound and video delays, just so at least I know what the fuck's going on and I can try to fix it. There's a good chance that this stream's going to go on and offline at some point or another as we try to get things going. Just bear with us. This is mostly just going to be us bitching, complaining, and talking about shit that we've been doing lately.
What you come to expect.
Yeah, what you've come to expect from Jaded Gamercast, the podcast that is no longer a podcast. It is now a show.
A multimedia takeover.
Yeah, exactly. Like this high quality shit. I mean, next time we might actually use your computer and maybe the bitrate will be slightly better. Sure. But we don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out.
Next time on Jaded Gamershow.
Next time on Jaded Gamershow.
Maybe better technology.
We might even have intro music. All right. So to get this started, for anybody who doesn't know who we are, my name is Lang. With me as always is Nathan. With us is Matt, the now constant co-host.
I kind of just show up.
Guest host.
Yeah, supposedly I move like 5 minutes away from you. I'm allowed to be on the show more often.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much the way that it works.
Even though Nathan's like 14,000 miles away from us, and he's still on the show.
Fucking keep that on your fucking Team Instinct hat. Jesus Christ. You are
going to say,
sometimes
it's because I'm the talent, Matt. That's why.
I'm just brought in for the comic relief.
That sounds good. I'm all right with that. All right, so I want to do just a quick spot check with the chat. Is the video good? Is it delayed? Is it everything sounding good, looking good?
I updated the banner, guys.
It hasn't been a year. I think we all weigh 50 pounds more. It's a good time.
Actually, I've lost 13 pounds in the last 2 months.
Shut the fuck up,
Go
Matt.
Fuck it. And this will be Matt's last episode as a guest host on Jaded Gamershow.
Incredibly fucking frustrating, you piece of shit.
You
stopped dating and all of a sudden, ooh, I get to work out again. I don't have 2 kids and a full-time job. Fuck you.
I have 3 jobs.
That doesn't matter.
One of them's looking awesome.
Are any of them full-time?
Yeah, my main one.
No, that's not even true.
Whatever.
We're not going to get into too much here. I'm assuming that
except for alcohol.
Everything is great except for Matt is still here. The Rocky Yeti. Fuck yes, thank you. We all wearing our nerdy shirts. We're living the dream right now. So we're going to get this thing started. We're going to start by talking about games. So you guys have been asking us quite a bit. Oh, by the way, Matt and I vape. It's on video now. It's just going to be looking like fucking douchebags.
I'm wearing a Team Instinct outfit. This is my hat. My Team Instinct hat.
That's for everybody at home.
I mean, do you even still play Pokemon Go?
I do,
most
actually.
people don't.
I love my Pokemon Go.
I don't play Pokemon Go. I'm an adult. So,
Shut up.
I do when my kids want to play it. We're going to talk about games. We're going to start off by talking about the thing everyone's been asking us to talk about, and that is Warhammer 40,000 8th edition and the fucked up shit that came around that we all kind of decided that we liked, although I don't think any of us have played it. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm kind of excited for it, just for the fact that I'd said a couple of times it was the broken game, so I'm glad they broke it. You know, it was something that it needed. It was like, no, you got to break that thing apart and put back together a slimmer person, like when Matt isn't dating anybody.
Well, I think we said that like probably 4 years ago, where it's like, oh, this game's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Right,
and they took it off the rails. Like I haven't followed anything competitive in 40K for a long time. All I know is I was so frustrated with 7th, I totally shut it off.
Well, we all did. We shut it off. We sold our shit. I have one army, which is my show army, my go-to army, and it's like that'll never leave my display case. So I always have something to do when it comes to 40K. So it really was just the waiting game. Nathan, are you excited about it? Are you fucking scared about it? Or are you just indifferent at this point? Have you moved on?
I was excited about it because honestly, the core rules changes for me sounded fucking great. Getting rid of detachments alone is worth the price of admission. But then when I started to flip through all of the index books, it's the same fucking game. I mean, and fundamentally, every single problem of 7th edition in the bullshit balance issues and the codex creep to the fucking nines is still present. But hey, everybody, we've streamlined the core rules so you can get your ass handed to you much nicer. And that's all it was. So it's just like, I was super jammed and stoked and excited. And then, like I said, flipping through the fucking index books, and you're just like, this game is still a steaming dumpster fire. Like, it's just fucking garbage. Because sure, you got rid of all of the free points that detachments had, but you have no composition, you have no limitations, and it's just like, hey, pick a points value, take whatever the fuck you feel like. So I know a guy in Calgary who had his first game in like 5-6 years, and he brought out an army and he ran into a guy running both Kairos, Fateweaver, and Magnus, and a whole bunch of like just fucking Rubric Marines. And on the top of turn 1, he lost 80% of his army, and he's like, I'll never play 40K again.
We're back in it. I had to remind Matt not to bang the table.
Sorry. I have a glass table, and I'm just smashing my glasses into it.
You are just beating the shit out of that table right now. You have a coaster. Use it.
Pass me some more, because I have like 3 cups.
All right. Why do you have fucking 3 cups? It's your house, dude. Get your own fucking coasters. All right.
They're bowling balls, by the way.
Yeah, so like I said, my loop on 40K was just one of those things where I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited. Oh, I regret selling all of my armies. And then, oh, thank God I sold all of my armies and I never wasted my time with this.
And that was
so like a 2-week circuit.
So I'm going to play one game against Lang, and I'm going to take the dive and sell all my Blood Angels after that game, you're saying, pretty much? Because I'm pretty sure I'm selling all my 40K stuff right behind my 3/4 of my Firestorm Armada in the next 2
Listen,
months.
As soon as there was a release date on that 3rd edition codex, because remember, there's actually a Firestorm community nearby. All of my Firestorm is going up for sale. Like, hey, everybody, you excited for the new edition? I've got a Painted Pathogen fleet and a Relthosa fleet.
I'm pretty sure 3/4 of the Edmonton meta is just going to be Matt Damon painted fleets.
Well, okay. Firestorm Armada is an interesting conversation, and we'll get to that for sure. But let's get back to 8th edition 40K. I think
Nathan just killed it for me.
Well, yes, he did kill it, but you and I are still going to play.
We're going to play.
We'll have our own opinions, and that'll be important.
And, and people will want to hear them, supposedly.
People will probably want to hear them.
I don't know why.
All right. I'm going to kill this real quick. Chat only. There we go. I just want to be able to see chat. There we go. Okay. So, high quality production here, people. High quality production. F you, the Rock Yeti. All right, that's good stuff, dude. We're on board. All right, so we got all the interaction happening here in the Twitch chat. So get down to Twitch TV or Justin TV if you're an old user. Sorry. So basically, 40K. People do tend to be very. Yeah, you wouldn't. That is for literally people who have been watching streaming for the last. Like, since it started, the last, 8 years.
When was the internet invented?
It was a while back in AOL times. So people have been excited for 40K, though. And that's actually something I find very interesting, is this has fired people up. And the majority of people who've commented on our Facebook page and on other places that I've looked have basically said, yeah, we really like it. Like, everything is really good.
Well, they're willing to give it a chance
the games look great. I think the problem is that when you're in an intro game, somebody's not trying to fuck you.
To fuck your face in?
Yes, and that is the big thing.
In a back alley behind a dumpster? Because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of 40K, right?
That's exceptionally graphic, Matt.
Right? Well, we know what Maddie was up to when we were supposed to do this
how
last.
I think I made money last year.
That's how you lost all that weight.
Right? So that the people behind dumpsters find him pretty? Is that where we're going?
That's right.
No, but I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, okay, detachments are dead, and that on its own was a great fucking move for 40K. It was no different than when War Machine retired Mark II to move to Mark III and killed all, like, 85 of their fucking theme forces. Because when all you're doing is giving away free points, it makes balance hard, especially if you have someone that is working to fucking screw the system to the max and someone who's just trying to have a casual game. I said it about 7th edition. I'm saying it about 8th edition. 40K is a great beer and pretzels game, but if you're looking for something that is remotely competitive, it can't be because the power creep just got out of hand. So unless an event is willing to go back to the archaic and extinct army composition system, because like we're old enough to remember army comp, guys, but it's just like, unless they're going to release like a Magic the Gathering style fucking ban list where they're just like, listen, all of these characters are banned from competitive play and all of these Lords of War are, they're just choices now, they're not even something special, but like, here's our ban list, and by the way, our army composition is maxing out the number of wounds you can have in your list, etc., etc. Like, unless you're willing to just fucking police the shit out of that game, I can't go and play a pickup game of 40K in another store without either me being the douchebag who brought Kairos and Magnus in the same list, or running into the douchebag that brought Kairos and Magnus in the same list. And that's the fundamental problem. It was the same problem we had with Age of Sigmar, where they're just like, you don't have enough structure in your game for it to be fun. And that's what 8th edition has.
Honestly, to piggyback off your point of like composition and list building, since 7th and 8th edition, I still don't know how to make a fucking army list.
Well,
I don't know even where to start. Like I go to Bell of Lost Souls at least once a day.
Sure.
And they post lists, and I'm just like, how do you build that? Where's my HQ and 2 troops?
It's like it's the last year of the podcast all over again.
Yeah, like, listen, I fully acknowledge the fact that 40K was my gateway drug into mini wargaming, and there will always be a special place in my heart for 40K, so I want to like it, and I give it more shots than my biological family, for fuck's sake.
Well, 40K is like your go-to drug. After you
technically,
get drunk,
you've only given one shot to your biological family.
After you get drunk, you're like, what would really be fun? Some 40K.
Well, okay. As a fun beer and pretzels game, like I said, people are excited about it, and my big question is, I can't tell if it's the people who were big into 7th edition 40K and fucking people and weird-ass builds and all the wacky shit that we saw at tournaments, or if these are the people who have just not been playing 40K for the last 10 years, came back into it, and are now finding themselves saying, hey, this is the game that I love and I remember, because nobody's actively trying to fuck me right now. And you know what, Terry? I will fuck with my laptop until this is perfect. I will fuck with it until it's perfect. The sun is going down out this window. Matt doesn't own drapes in his house, okay?
I just got a couch. It was been a year.
He has a casting couch. It's really funny. It's used. All right. So for Warhammer 40,000 8th edition, Nathan, you got your hands on the starter set, you and Terry, correct?
Yes.
What did you think of the starter set?
Honestly, it made me miss Games Workshop models. You and I both know that through the podcast and through my own proclivities, I amass miniature games like they're going out of style. I have built models from probably a dozen different companies, and it's easy to forget how good Games Workshop plastics are until you're looking at the sprues and you're just longing for it. In terms of my personal preference, yeah, I think the Nurgle stuff commits far too many of our typical model sins to be for me, but I can't deny that looking at them, they're just fucking stunning, and they have so much detail. They're nice to build. In terms of starter set components, they actually had, for the first time ever a both assembly guide and painting guide that was like not like the old bullshit back of the box, like look at the heavy metal scheme that we painted with Ultramarines blue, Goblin green, and Bolt's gun metal. And I'm like, I see red on the models, guys. You did not paint this model using
motherfucker, that's Flock.
But like I said, it actually has it where it's just like use this, and it had techniques on how to be able to at least get your stuff looking good, even if it's your first time painting, because they had techniques on how to dry brush, how to wash, what paint colors to use, on what steps. Really beginner friendly, and I just fucking loved that. Also, rest in peace, red whippy sticks that we beat the fuck out of each other with when we worked for the company, because now they printed the clear plastic rulers instead of the red fucking eye gouge sticks.
It's a goddamn abomination, if you ask me. All right, so I mean, it sounds like a thumbs up when it comes to the starter kit, but I mean, the starter kit kind of has to be. If the starter kit's bad, the whole thing falls apart. I definitely am going to give the game a try. Likely in later episodes, you'll hear Maddie and I talking, giving you a bit of a battle report, and we will be, pushing forward from that perspective.
Yeah.
Now,
can I go on my Primus Marine tangent?
Oh, okay. I was about to ask about Mega Marines, but
Yeah.
But while we are asking about Mega Marines, Terry is in the chat, and she is going to get people's questions for us about Warhammer 40K.
People have been asking if they've seen me have sex with a blow-up mattress already.
Well, yeah.
In the chat.
I mean, that was a sticky mattress.
No, because they're like...
I sat on it once. I had to peel myself off.
No. Here's the thing, though. Maddie's spelling is so bad that's not actually mattress. It was blow up doll.
Right.
Matterus.
That's the problem.
The Matterus 3000.
If you guys have questions for us about Warhammer
doll,
40,000, ask them in the chat. Terry's going to put a couple together. Maddie's going to go on a bit of a tangent about Mega Marines. We're going to talk about them a little bit, and then when we're done with that, we are going to answer a couple of questions about Warhammer 40,000 that you guys have. This lets us be a little bit more interaction and I don't have to fucking come up with content and fucking do everything.
I'm here.
I know. What are you doing? I asked you for a lamp.
Being beautiful.
It took 3 tries.
I'm being beautiful. It's a good thing I'm pretty.
I know, it is a good thing. So ask your questions, and who the fuck are you, Lang? I'm telling you, said you wanted to be a mod. You're a fucking mod now, Terry. You're a mod. Or I'll get Matt to do it, but he'll fuck it up somehow. I trust Terry more. All right, so Mega Marines.
What?
Fucking rant.
Oh, okay. So I went on this huge fucking cuss-filled rant to Lang. Like the first time I saw him, I was like, "These are fucking stupid. Why the fuck are they just giant Marines? This is fucking dumb. They're killing the game. They're killing the industry. Why don't they just shove their IP down a bridge and put a fucking shotgun into it?"
Yeah. Do you remember what I said?
To settle down? Who cares?
Well, I was like, yeah, but didn't Korax do it?
And then I went into a rabbit hole of like fluff for like 2 days, and I came back out of it, and I'm just like, you know what? All of this makes sense, actually. What they actually did with all the fluff, it actually made sense from the 30k books to the 40k books about how it went there. And this actually makes sense, which got me on board with Primus Marines.
Oh. Fuck you, because I had someone ask me to go through the fluff on like how Reboot Guilliman came back, or Big Bobby G, as he will always be in my heart. How Big Bobby G came back from the dead, and everything went through. And I actually like walked them through step by step, and like midway through, I was just like, this is probably the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
No. Reboot coming back from the dead is dumb.
Reboot.
Big Bobby G.
Yeah, Big Bobby G. No. I'm not arguing that there's a lot of holes in the story about how old Guilliman came and kicked some ass across the galaxy. I'm not arguing that.
No. Can we talk about how before he got wounded by Fulgrim, he was like, Tech Priest, you have to make this super secret healing armor, and the dude took 8,000 years to make.
I'm not saying that's all dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb.
You're not saying it's all dumb. It's dumb.
It's dumb. It's
All right.
dumb. I'm here.
Good point. Solid point.
Listen, the
Counterpoint, Nathan?
Primaris Marines have just got a little more Primarch in them, and since I call my dick a Primarch, every night with Terry, she's got a little bit of Primarch in her. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
These are from the Raptor Project. I'm pretty sure they're basing all of this off the Raptor Project, which is actually in Deliverance Lost, which is from Korax, which is the stuff the Alpha Legion fucks up. Because remember, the first 20 Marines in Deliverance Lost are the exact definition of what Primus Marines are. Just because Homeboy went and backwards engineered what Korax figured out on Deliverance doesn't mean he didn't figure it out. Yeah, it takes him 8,000 fucking years because he's not a goddamn Primarch who was possessed by the goddamn Emperor in the middle of the fucking Himalayan mountains, but the guy did it, and it figured it out. And at least what they did with the Primus Marines was consistent from a book they wrote in the Black Library to what they're doing now. Whatever. But at least the Primus Marines made sense. Everything that gets to the Primus Marines, old Rabute, Mr. Ass Kicker across the galaxy, fucking with the fucking Unforgiven and all that bullshit.
I'm gonna punch my way into a web way.
And about 14,000 Harlequins and a bunch of Xenos, or fuck the Xenos, but unless they're helping me get back to Terra, we're going riding.
Okay.
All that's dumb. But at least I got on board with the Primus Marines. So and that was my biggest sticking point before everything else. That's what set me over the fucking edge. I was like, fuck these fucking stupid fucking giant Marines. Fuck, this is dumb. They're killing the hobby. They're killing their IP. Why don't they just fucking throw it off a bridge?
Listen.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop here. So, we're going to answer a question real quick. I'm going to throw a comment in there as well.
Okay.
So, when it comes to the Mega Marines, this will give Terry a second to get the second question together as well. When we're talking about the Mega Marines, the Primaris Marines, whatever the fuck they're called, honestly, I kind of think about it from the perspective of what were the last, 4 or 5 releases for Space Marines, and how fucking dumb were they? The fucking Snuggie Bear, goddamn, what were those?
It was the Baby Bjorn.
The Baby Bjorn. There was the Space Marine Snuggies, remember?
Oh yeah, you're right. The Space Marine Snuggies,
the Mega
and
Terminators,
Baby Bjorn, fucking Nemesis Baby Bjorn.
Honestly, it's the best thing they've done with Space Marines in the last couple of releases. So for me, I kind of give it a minor thumbs up. But we're going to go to our first question. Nathan, you'll have the opportunity to answer this one.
Okay.
Mad Drop Bear 74 wants to know: should I succumb to 40K, or should I wait? She didn't copy and paste the whole question, which is really problematic. But this is Terry we're talking about. At least she spelled it correctly. So
yes,
the big thing here, the question is: should he succumb and get right into 40K, jump in both feet first, or should he wait?
Honestly, I would wait because Games Workshop is still stupidly expensive, and again, I don't know this early in 8th edition if we're going to start to see things that the game needs, like Army Comp. And I also don't know who you play with. Because again, if you're just me and my 3 friends who aren't assholes, and I know where they all sleep so I can kill them, want to play some 40K again, go for it. You're going to have a great fucking time, because Games Workshop always makes great core rules. Codex creep has always been their Achilles heel. So I'm just for me, I'm just there's just too many variables. If it's a hard yes or no, I would tell everyone don't bother, because Games Workshop is still way too fucking expensive, and the game only addressed one of its 2 glaring faults, and is pretending that if they just put the tablecloth over the fucking blood stain in the middle of the table, that you just won't know it's there. And that's that's a fucking problem.
Murder, right? All right, so Mad Drop Bear would also like to know what we think about the NASA Marines, the
Marines,
the fucking super jump pack, the one where they took the balloon.
Oh, the double storm bolter motherfuckers.
The ones with the bouncy shoes. They've got fucking moon shoes.
Movies.
So here's the thing: Mega Marines look pretty damn good against bouncy shoe Jump Marines with their fucking True Grit fucking Stormbolt. This is where we start talking about continuity in these models, and this is where I lost my love for 40K a long time ago. The big problem was they would come up with these stupid ideas, and they would do these stupid things that There was a reason why Marines didn't do that shit before. There was a reason why everybody wasn't two-fisting a Stormbolter.
Or they just walked into a bigger set of armor. Like
Right, exactly. They just walk into a new set of armor. I heard you need armor for your armor, dog. Like, it's one of those things that it really frustrates me because I look at it and I think about it and I go, that's fucking dumb. What's wrong with jump pack Marines? Like, what? Genuinely, what is wrong with Assault Marines? What is wrong with regular Assault Marines?
If we're just going to size the pores up by 30%, at least we could just fucking If we're just going to redo the whole fucking line, just redo the whole fucking line from the ground up with the original models. Like, just give me 30% bigger goddamn Marines. I want 30% bigger jump pack Marines. Those would look awesome. But no. Yeah, I have to get dual Stormbolter one jump guy. Fuck.
Oh, god damn it, dude.
He can leap over buildings in a single bound.
No, not only...
Because there's more Primarch in him.
Promina, you haven't missed much. It's pretty much a train wreck at this point. That's for the chat right there. So, we're going to move on to the next topic here. Firestorm Armada.
Closing thoughts on 40k, though.
Okay, yeah, fire off. Closing thoughts.
Primaris Marines, not nearly as dumb as the Necron Retcron.
No, nothing will ever be as dumb as that.
No, exactly.
That will still make me the most frustrated I've ever been with GW Cannon.
Yeah, that ride's pretty high.
Yeah, we are good on that front. Not as stupid, and honestly, I think that if you only bought the starter box and never expanded anything, the price point is there, the army balance is there, and it would probably make like a wicked fucking board game to just play starter box versus starter box, but I would literally never, ever, ever expand either faction because that's just the path to disappointment.
We will get to shows and movies for you in the chat who are asking, but we're going to get through games first. We're going to move on to Firestorm Armada. This isn't going to take long because there's not much there to talk about. If you guys listen to Matt and I on the guest spot that we did on Alex's podcast, I forget the name.
Hub Systems
podcast. I remembered.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm fucking talent. I remember this shit.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. You wouldn't be here were it not for my technical skill. But
I've only been drinking since 5:30.
A good set, Lang.
Matt has been drinking since 5:30.
I was told I had to get jaded.
That being said, I'll repeat my main point. They have given up on Firestorm Armada fans. They've given up on Firestorm Armada players. Spartan Neil doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And it's been over a year with next to nothing released. There's still fucking ships out. I believe there are still ships that we have rules for that we still don't have models for.
But we have
literally
seen one
Pathogen.
Leviathan. We have seen one.
We've seen one Leviathan.
We've seen one undetailed Leviathan. Okay.
And that's what I was going to say, Maddie. Is I was at Adepticon, so. Inexplicably, Spartan Games literally just left all of their shit out after hours. I could have taken every last model they brought, and no one would have been the wiser because they didn't.
You should have stole me that fucking Leviathan.
It was shitty though. Like, here's the thing:
it has no detail. It has no fucking detail.
It's like the Dreadnought, which is what 6-7 years old at this point, is filled with detail. And I know, like, you and I have both painted one. Like, we've seen each other.
It has that hatchwork pipework on every wing.
Yeah, and then when I looked at the Leviathan, I was just like, listen, it's an impressive size. There's no taking away from the scale of the Firestorm Armada game. It's always been impressive. But in terms of detail on the model, a generic Mark II fucking 2nd edition 40k Rhino has more. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, it looks like it was whittled out of soap. And I'm not even kidding that. Like, it's just like, they're like, I'll just get this fucking shape right. Boom! Glue these soap bars together. We got a Leviathan. And even then, when I was looking at the Pathogen ships, they were indistinguishable from Ralphosa ships.
Yeah, and that was one of the problematic. It didn't inspire you, right? Like, it felt very rushed out. Somebody in the chat had mentioned, did Spartan Neil say that they definitely were going to have new stuff out before June? They did.
Dude,
I think we were actually supposed to get the next edition out before June.
They say Spartan says so much shit. It's like, yeah.
Leviathans are just around the corner, everybody. That's the only answer you need to know. But we're not going to spend too much more time on Firestorm Armada.
Because I would...
There's fucking nothing there.
Well, I would just go off on a fucking... Okay, I'm going. It's like, okay, so... Spartan is one of the game systems where, like, you know, like, I don't know how long we fucking flew the banner for Spartan Games, and then you get fucking JBL boot fucked in the face in the middle of the goddamn ring for 1, 2, 3 for the title.
That was a wrestling comment for anybody wondering.
It's ridiculous. I have never been so angry at a company. Like, I hate GW. Like, I hate them. But but at least the fall from GW was a slow fall from grace. And, like, I was hanging on. Spartan was just like, good, fuck you. Don't even care. They're like, hey, we got the fucking Halo.
You guys better
now.
get in on this Kickstarter if you want to get some shit out of us.
Do you like Halo and Kickstarters? Fuck you. Shut up.
Like I said, everything about Spartan, though, Matt, and
they're the biggest, smallest company in the world. They run it like they're still a mom and pop organization, even though they have big company plans, but they decide to run it like FFG 7 years ago.
All right, moving on. I'm kicking us forward here. We're going to talk a little bit about some games that we were playing. Let's just talk about Dungeons & Dragons, everybody. We just finished Horde of the Dragon Queen. We had a casualty, which if you're in the Facebook page, you obviously saw that Nathan was tragically killed by his wife, Terry. Maximilian Pendergrass III was killed by Grilka, the half-orc barbarian, ex-Cult of the Dragon member, while she was in a charmed, blood-fueled, demon sword-enticed rage, frenzied rage, and just basically went through and murdered. Now, I'm sure Nathan has some salty comments about this. We've been hearing it solid for about 3 weeks now. Nathan, what was wrong with the strategy that you guys employed there at the last part? Try not to give too much away for anybody who hasn't played Cult of the Dragon.
Okay, sure. So
Horde
basically,
of the Dragon Queen.
Cult of the Dragon Queen. Basically, final boss fight. This is the biggest, baddest enemy that we've ever encountered. I mean, it was hinted at heavily. I think we all kind of knew. So our all DPS group is all together, and the moment the fight starts, because we're trying to sneak up on it, we're unsuccessful. There's the big bad monster, and then Maddie's bard decides to run for his life like a fucking coward, leaving the three of us there to fight the big bad boss. And we do, because we are a DPS group. And we managed...
It was a flanking mission.
It was a flanking mission.
I mean, listen... I'm quite certain that cowards that are caught call their cowardice all sorts of different things. Flanking missions, I was sending news from the front, I don't give a shit what the fuck you want to call it. He ran like a fucking bitch, leaving the three of us to handle not one but two legendary creatures at the same time.
I would like to point out that I came around and shot it with...
You're right. You did get one single attack off in that entire fight. That was
and then I turned into an ape and killed the vampire. Duh. That was my job.
You're right. You
turned into a giant ape and kill stuff
for your life. Did so much to help us.
All right. So yeah, Horde of the Dragon Queen.
It seemed our group seemed to be pretty good, honestly. I don't know why I overthought that plan, because our group seemed to be pretty good just punching our way out of every problem. Like, I don't know why. I overthought that one.
I'll tell you this.
I thought I was going to be sneaky and do some strategy for once, and then after I realized it, I was like, yeah, I probably should just turn into an ape and punch it in the face.
I mean, it's what you did the previous fight, and it was fucking fantastic to the point where our DM had to DM intervention it so that between the moment the fight started and then we were surrounded from people from all around was 24 seconds. He cheated so hard because we were just blowing through combat when you did that. So then we hit the fight where we absolutely fucking need it, and you're just like, I'm gonna run over here. Maybe we drop some spare change. Did anybody check behind the couch cushions, you guys? Fuck.
I mean, as your DM, I will say,
I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't a great play. It wasn't my best moment.
It was one of your worst moments, to be perfectly honest with you, Matt. And it was in a really bad situation, especially
I wasn't playing clutch in a clutch game. Let's just say that.
Especially when in your pre-planning session, the plan was to go straight in and hit it with everything you had, and then when shit hit the fan, you decided a flanking mission was the way to go.
I'm just playing like the Ducks in Game 7, okay?
Yeah, I was gonna say you were as clutch as Jonathan Bernier in Game 6 against Nashville. Every shot was a goal, Matt. Every shot was a goal.
I'm here just showing up.
Here's your fucking participation ribbon. Yeah, so my wizard was super fucking dead.
Yeah, I will say on the cast right now that was my bad. I will admit to that. Because reevaluating the plan, that was not my best play.
Yeah.
Shut up.
But my bad.
Shut up.
My bad.
As
I'm
your
sorry,
DM,
I'm sorry.
you guys had a very interesting party dynamic. To the point where when this went down the way that it did, I honestly wasn't all that surprised. But you learned some valuable lessons. So, Horde of the Dragon Queen. Let's do a quick little review on that. We have a question that we're going to get to here about Pathfinder. But, Matt, what did you think of Horde of the Dragon Queen? Nathan, what did you think? I'll give you guys the rundown of what it was like to DM.
I heard before this one, because it is the first, I think it's the first book that Wizards of the Coast came out with. So it's
for fifth.
It's for fifth, so it's 2 years old already.
Yeah.
And all I'd ever heard about it was horror stories about how terrible it was. And I didn't think it was that bad. Yeah. It is on rails, and I guarantee the people who are deep in these fucking forums and shit like that, it's the internet, are like really more experienced D&D players. But for someone in my experience and just really likes to get fucking hand fed some stuff and just kind of go through and have some fun and roll some dice, it was a fucking great time. If you're like me and you roll the fucking 10 bond, holy fuck is that hard to roleplay, because it's complete opposite of what I want to do.
That was a hard one.
It's so tough, but it's fun. You have to catch yourself sometimes. You can't just do things.
Your party almost murdered you because of it. Not that they were a group of particularly good people, but
listen, we had 2 lawful evils and a lawful neutral character there who had bound up our, at the time, lawful good person.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. So what did you think of the campaign, Nathan?
Full disclosure, I never did any role-playing before 5th edition, so very new to it. Before we did Horde of the Dragon Queen, we'd just gone through the starter set scenario, which gets you like to level 4, super kind of quick, and very much on rails, which we still managed to fuck up. I really enjoyed it, coming from that background, coming from a background of someone that isn't experienced, who isn't used to thinking like a role player, and has been a mini wargamer forever, where everything's about list optimization and everything's about like pushing damage output. I felt that even myself as a player grew from the first episode up to the one where I died, in that I was trying different things, and I was not treating every puzzle as if it was a nail and I was the hammer, you know? And I feel like when we first started doing it, that is how we did. Like, oh, there's a guy there, fucking kill him, let's go. And so I very much did enjoy it, because I feel like I grew, and I know that you've said that Book 2, Rise of Tiamat, which we're starting in a couple weeks, is a hell of a lot more open-ended, and I'm excited to see how we will tackle this after playing something that was on such tight rails.
Yeah, and, you know, they from a DM's perspective, it is on rails to an extent. They give you a lot of opportunity to go different places, but the directives that you get from the main NPCs in the storyline are very clear. Go here, follow this, do this, get this information.
Or race it to the castle, in our experience in this one.
And kind of within that groundwork, you know, Wizards does a very, very good job of writing campaign books. If you've never DM'd before, they basically give you everything that you need. The big thing that you need to learn as a DM, and I've talked to a couple people about this who were starting Horde of the Dragon Queen as well, is that, like, this is the guide. This is the outline of a story, and how much time it takes and what you do with it is really up to the players and up to you. You can embellish, you can add things, you can mix and match. Characters take on a whole different light. Keep in mind that I've now run this, or am running 3 different groups through this campaign, on and off. So I've been able to kind of see how different groups tackle these problems differently, and the stories are pretty wildly different, you know, but they all end up going to the same place, which is the idea. All right, so I liked it. It was good. We had fun. Maybe right up to the end fight, it wasn't quite as entertaining for some people, but for the most part, you know, Nathan spent the entire last episode painting and listening and throwing the odd comment out.
I will say this.
Salty
Nathan,
comment. It was like a fucking
Nathan has had
pillar of salt.
Also, I will say this, though. Nathan has had a pretty big 180 in the last 4 years on role-playing games, because I'm pretty sure he was the one who said they are worse than LARPers.
Oh, yeah, no,
yeah, absolutely.
If you go back to the old podcast when we were talking about the nerd hierarchy, he had it ranked very low on the totem pole.
It was above bronies or something like that.
Hey, listen, I have the Tales of Equestria role-playing game, and I'm fucking amped to run it through with my kid, and I'm trying to work out to also play it with Graham McNeil and his kids, so...
Exciting.
It's going to be fucking fun.
I'm glad Nathan is more on my side now, because even in that episode, I remember being like, I fucking love role-playing, I love D&D, and Nathan's like, what are you fuck?
You know, I think what it was just the couple times that I had tried earlier in my life back in high school were just really shitty groups and really shitty role plays. So, spoilers for Terry. Terry fact, Terry was goth as fuck when I met her.
No.
And I mean, like, goth as fuck.
I've
the
seen
pretension, the outfit, the makeup to make her face white and all that. And so her jam was Vampire the Masquerade RPG. And so in high school, we tried to get together a fucking group of Vampire the Masquerade RPG with literally anyone who would say yes to the question of, will you please play this with us? And so we had a shitty DM. Terry had done some, like, muds and things that, like, you did, Lang, for Vampire the Masquerade. That was it. And, you know, a bunch of people that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And it was just the literal most boring thing in the world to just sit there with a DM that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And as a player with no guidance, who also didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Just awful.
Whereas I've been DMing since I was like 15. So, you know, this is old hat to me. I enjoy it quite a bit. So yeah, we've been having a lot of fun with D&D. We will be moving into Tiamat. There is a distinct possibility that we will be live streaming our D&D sessions for Tiamat. But if this tech demo is any indication,
Thanks,
at least I'll be doing it from a desktop. So it should stream a little bit better than it is right now. I'm currently streaming from a Surface. So, all right. We're going to move on from games. We're going to move into movies because people are chomping at the bit for movies right now. And there's been a lot, actually, you know, because it's been quite a long time. So we've got quite a lot to go over. But let's talk about current movies. I think we'll get to Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That's probably the most current. But what I wanted to get into... Oh, right. The question that we had for D&D, we're going to jump back to that right now, is... Yeah, I fucking get it. Jesus Christ, Terry. I know, there's a delay. She can't hear it. The question that we had came in from Permina100. It says, you guys been watching the info on the new Pathfinder sci-fi RPG. Yeah, I know you can hear the pings. Let me close it from here. I'm going to have to like close it from here or it'll never leave. All right, so the Pathfinder sci-fi RPG. Yes, I have heard about it. I looked into it a little bit. I tend to find that sci-fi as a setting is a lot harder to DM for. Unless it is a setting and a universe that I'm very, very familiar with, right? If I were to sit down and say, hey, everybody, let's play sci-fi for Star Wars, for instance. Yeah. We went back and we played the old WEG Star Wars game. I know that game quite well. I know Star Wars really well. So does Matt, so does Nathan, so does Terry. That's a very easy world for us to get into. It's a very easy world where we all kind of know the rules. We all kind of know the constraints. When you start talking about sci-fi RPG that takes place in a world that people aren't that familiar with, it requires a lot more buy-in from players, which, as a DM, I can tell you, is really fucking hard to get. Most of these people have not read the entire D&D rulebook.
It'd be like us trying to get into the War Machine role-playing one.
Well,
which
yeah, like any role-playing
which
game.
uses the 3.5, like
right.
Pathfinder.
We would have an easier time getting into a Babylon 5 role-playing game. Yeah, what's up?
Hey, the game is called Starfinder, and I know because I was doing some research to write an article on it.
Ooh, Nathan.
Right? Look at me. I actually did this professionally.
Check
him out on Geek and Sundry. He's a bloggist.
No, but basically, the only reason I wanted to kind of interject here is basically the premise is this is the Pathfinder world. So if you are already familiar with Pathfinder, this is the Pathfinder world set a few thousand years into the future. And so all of that old mythology, all of the gods still exist, the magic still exists. But then through some weird intervention of the gods, they have hidden away the planet that Pathfinder takes place on because they didn't want to invalidate games of Pathfinder. So to your point of not knowing the universe, I think that there are going to be some Pathfinder players that are very familiar with the pantheons, with magic and things like that. And there is going to be a big focus on planetary exploration. And one of the things that that they mentioned that has me quite interested is, what would a druid do when he steps foot on a new planet? Like, how would he feel? And I was just like, oh my god, that's interesting. However, it's still so far away that there just aren't enough details. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it sounds interesting, and if you're into Pathfinder and you love sci-fi, it'll probably be fucking amazing for you. But
I think the biggest problem with Pathfinder, I think Lang told me this before in confidence, was that it's 3.5 D&D plus, and 3.5 D&D is one of the most complicated role-playing systems that they've ever created. It is like you said, your skill check off is like 27 skills. Spells do like multi-spell things in turns. It's like, I remember playing 3.5 and I love 3.5. It was very immersive in every thinking of the word. And 3.5 is a very complicated system. And that's why people who play Pathfinder, they love 3.5.
Yeah.
It's a daunting system to figure out, and I could just imagine. I remember playing 3.5 Wizards of the Coast Star Wars, and even that was a pretty insane system. So if we're taking that to a new IP, and we're doing like Mass Effect planet exploring, I could just imagine what the DMing of that would be like. What is your what do you just print off like 40 skills?
Right.
Like mushroom farming.
Mushroom farming?
Zero G mushroom farming. Like that would be a skill. Like, it'd be fucking insane. And I'm not saying that having immersive systems like that is bad. I can just see where that is fucking daunting for anybody.
And the other thing is, like, for me as a player, not as someone who's DM'd, like, I just have so many fucking questions. So it's like, okay, we know that there's spaceships and we know that it is focused on planetary exploration, but are there going to be space battles? What's character death look like? Like, if my spaceship gets smoked by a comet and all hands are lost, are we all ripping up our character sheets? Like, right. This is my questions.
Like, what if your support ship in your flotilla decides to go on a flanking mission around Saturn?
Yes.
And the rest of your fleet is fucked.
The rest of your fleet is currently being fucked by a vampire. Okay, so now, yes, from a complication
throwing
perspective,
it out there as an example.
Pathfinder is more complicated. It's not incredibly complicated, but it requires more buy-in. One of the things I liked a lot about 5th edition D&D was that
it's Diablo 3.
Well, yeah, they simplified it a lot. They made it really, really easy for people who have never played before to just have the DM walk them through it during the game. Building a character sheet was incredibly easy, and kind of pushing everything forward from there would be really, really cool because of the fact that they could learn it by playing. With Pathfinder, with that edition, it's very, very hard to learn by playing because there's so much you have to remember. There's so many little rules for flanking and little rules for stuff like that. It's not that I hate it. You know, a lot of people would say that, you know, having more rules is better in a situation like that because it's more accurate. But I'm a big proponent of theater of the mind, and I do, you know, stupid voices and stuff like that for my characters. And like, I'm more focused on that than I am for trying to, you know, make sure that all the rules are exactly the way that they should be. And I feel like that's where people tend to have the most fun in the game. All right, so we're going to kick it forward here. We got another question up here from another one from Mad Drop Bear. He says, hey lads, would you consider having a guest gamers like myself join in on future Twitch or Discord stuff for Jaded? I assume he meant Jaded Gamershow. Yeah, one of the nice things about the internet and this sort of interaction is that eventually
pornography everywhere.
Eventually in the future we can even have people come on through Skype and ask questions, you know, video or audio through the show. This is very much a tech test. This is very much a pilot episode. So this is one of those things where we're just going to fuck around and just see what we like and see how people like it, how they buy into it. We're not going to know that for a while, but I can absolutely imagine that we would want to have people interact more. And that's kind of that would be the goal. That being said, are there any plans for it? No, I don't even like I thought I was out. That was the big thing. I thought I was the fuck out. All right, moving on. Look, we're gonna go to movies because we're already in an hour. Let's go on. Let's talk about movies. We've all seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This is going to be a spoilery discussion, so if you haven't seen the movie, fuck you. Statute of Limitations is up on that one, so deal with it. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It was all right. It was good. It wasn't as good as the first one.
Really?
I absolutely didn't think it was as good as the first one. Keep in mind, I saw the movie 3 times in 4 days, so maybe that tainted my enjoyment of it. It definitely was less good by the third one, whereas I felt like the first movie got better and better the more times you watched it. I felt like the movie was way more narrow focus. They didn't go as many places. The jokes were really lazy jokes. And what I mean by lazy jokes is they're just the kind of jokes that they're not even funny the second time around. They're just stupid the second time around. The characters didn't really develop, which was kind of unfortunate. All of the emotion felt really forced, with the exception of like 1 or 2 moments in the movie. But I mean, it was funny. It was fun. I enjoyed myself. The action was great. It got way too heavy on the CG in the final fight. But like, if I keep comparing it to the first one, like every aspect of the first one is better. And this one just felt way lazier to me. And I mean, like, I'll have shit to gripe about in the movie once we get this shit going. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But so Nathan, what was your take on it?
Maybe it's because I'm sick to fucking death of superhero origin movies between the DC EU and the MCU. But I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I thought that it was better than Guardians 1, because Guardians 1 was literally just the fucking roadmap that Marvel has decided it will be every first movie in a franchise. And it was just so fucking kind of boring and predictable. Introduce character. Introduce other character. They meet through wacky circumstances. Jokes. Okay. Introduce third character. Jokes. And it's just like, to me, that was the
winning
biggest
formula done well.
right?
I can't
Hey, listen,
disagree.
I'm not saying that it's not a winning formula. Their box office says that. And I'm not even saying that it was a bad outcome. Guardians of the Galaxy was a great fucking movie. I liked Guardians 2 because, and again, this is one viewing, not 3 and 4 days like you had. To me, I thought that there was actually character development. I mean,
which
Peter Quill
characters developed?
Peter Quill at the beginning of Guardians 1 is Peter Quill at the end of Guardians 2. Peter Quill, yes, doesn't have that much of an arc, but he's at least slightly different by the end of the film. And Gamora is different by the end of the film, and even Nebula is different by the end of the film. And so you're able to see
she does have the most character development.
She's the best character in
Yeah.
the movie.
Her
So you're-
storyline with the Root was enticing.
Yeah, so like I said, you're actually able to have character development, and I enjoyed it. Also, I mean, you can't even, like, I wanted to say that, like, Kurt Russell as, like, the weird, like, alien guy that wanted to kill all life. Sure. I don't read Marvel, so but okay, so was Ego a better or worse villain than the dude with the hammer?
Way worse than Ronan.
But again, they were both equally stupid with stupid motivations. So like, even then, it's like neither one really has a hat. Like to me, that kind of came out in the wash, and so that's why I enjoyed Guardians 2 for the character development. I think the only thing that I didn't like about Guardians 2 was how they basically made a whole nother film of end credit scenes. Where they're just like, instead of one end credit scene to tease you, we're going to set up 2 spin-offs, a sequel, a tie-in, and you're just like, God, enough! Like, just fucking stop it.
It's
pretty unnecessary.
It's called universe building, okay, guys?
Matt, what did you think of Guardians 2?
I think this was James Gunn's best attempt at making The Empire Strikes Back. The main cast splits up halfway through the movie. He fights his father at the end, and the big twist is that one of the main people that shows up is his dad. And there's a big battle at the beginning, and there's not a lot in the middle, and the movie is kind of slow, and they don't go to a lot of places.
But Matt, The Empire Strikes Back is one of the best Star Wars.
The best Star Wars.
This is a long long discussion that we've had with Matt for years.
No, and I'm not saying anything
Matt
about it.
is a huge Phantom Menace fan, and just everything pales in comparison.
I fucking
for
love
him.
that movie.
So we got a question
And
asking.
you are wrong. You are wrong, Matt.
We got a question asking if it's just a rehash of the first one. No, it is not a rehash of the first one. It does have its own story. It's a good story. It's less about, people who are loners and screw ups and losers finding family in other loners and screw ups and losers. This is very much about the fucked up relationships that develop after you become friends with those types of people. I know from experience that, oh, fuck, the video's on. I know from experience that, when you have a fucked up family, that is a very interesting story.
Yeah.
I think that was the strongest part of this movie. So the fact that you focus on that doesn't surprise me. The thing that really surprises me about the movie is, like I said, when you watch it a couple of times, it really starts to fall apart. And I would challenge you to watch it another time or watch it a second time. Like, there's a joke where, at the start of the movie, they kill the big monster and, Drax goes, "Oh, what are these things?" And Peter Quill says, "They're ancillary batteries." And Drax goes, "Harbulary batteries." And he goes, "That's not what I said at all."
And that seems to be Drax's stick the entire film. And I only seen the movie once, but it seems like he doesn't grow as the character. He doesn't grow at all in the movie. And it seems like he's almost reverted back to the one good part he was in the first movie.
Well, no, he had good emotion in the first movie.
And
I liked him better when he was angry all the time.
He was in the first movie. He was definitely a more developed, better character. In the second one, he was literally just Captain Punchline dummy. They made him more goofy.
Although the best line in the movie.
I will say
out
this,
of the way, you smaller, dumber groups.
No.
I will say this about the movie though. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I loved watching the theater. I laughed at all the good jokes.
It was a good movie.
But the problem with Marvel movies that are firing just above the line and they're not firing on all cylinders is that you can pick them apart so fucking easily.
Well, yeah.
And people who have been watching 15 fucking Marvel movies now, we're hyper sensitive to the things that are going wrong in them. And unless you're getting trust me, I have
talk at the microphone.
I have
ceiling.
I love Age of Ultron, but I cannot get over Ultron in that fucking movie.
Not everything is going to be Winter Soldier good.
No.
I think that's the problem.
But
because even Civil War was not Winter Soldier good.
No. Civil War was his own
Civil War was good. But, so
Five
that
guys
joke,
at the bike racks after school. Woo!
It was the airport bike racks.
Well, the whole movie is built around that action scene.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they wrote that first, and they're like, let's make a movie around this, I guess.
All right, so going back to that joke, right? That lazy joke comes back later in the movie where they're going you stole ancillary batteries, Rocket. And then Drax goes, "They're called harbulary batteries." And then there's the joke with, Nebula. And, "I want to eat that root. It's not right." And then they do that 2 or 3 more times, and she takes a bite, and she's like, "It's not right." There's jokes like that throughout the entire movie that just completely fall flat. The movie's way too slapsticky. It's like Home Alone with a raccoon, which you would think would be awesome, but it's not, because just people bouncing above the tree line like a fucking cartoon. But
that scene looked good, though.
No, it was stupid.
It's still a great trailer, though.
Listen, I'm sure Maddie loves it because it is exactly the same CGI that Yoda had in Attack of the Clones.
The best
and he's just
Star
that
Wars
is the best Star Wars movie, you guys.
Attack of the Clones is not the best one. It's the worst.
So here's the thing. By the time you get through all of that, the movie just doesn't have a lot going for it. The fucking Pac-Man sequence was, that just made me groan. There's so much CG at the end, it just falls apart. A lot of the moments are bad. Now, the best line in the movie, and I can say this because I've seen it 3 times, and it's the one I laughed at all 3 times, was, you look like Mary Poppins. Is he cool? Yeah, he's cool. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That is the funniest. That I still laughed every goddamn time I was in the theater, because that shit was fucking fantastic. Michael Rooker was really, really good in that. But then his whole burial scene at the end was so fucking stupid. We're going to burn him, and then fucking all the Ravagers show up, because fuck whatever. And then let's shoot fireworks out of our pirate ships, and then have my ashes turn into an arrow. Because if you didn't get it yet, he liked arrows. A lot of that was just really silly and like really.
There was some stuff
stupid.
that was extremely on the nose.
Yeah,
like
well, like
two.
the Groot going and like looking for the Finn part was funny the first time, not funny the second and third time. It was really slow the second and third time. Groot is still adorable, but it just doesn't work like that. That's why I have a hard time ranking it as high as the first one. Like I think the first one just did a much better job, and I do think the villain was better from the first one because the villain in the first one was great as like somebody who is opposed to these characters that are not being taken too seriously, right? When Peter Quill starts dancing, the look on Ronan's face is fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
you never get that moment with Ego.
That's his thing is phenomenal.
Only moment in all of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 where the villain actually has some depth, because what is he? He's just Scowly dude.
He's a
and then he's Scowly dude who's talking to Thanos because, hey guys, Infinity War is going to come out one day. We want you to know, like, who is this the guy in the chair? He's he doesn't like to stand.
I just think Guardians 1 is a better constructed movie. I think the pacing is better. Okay, I'm getting technical now.
Well, they go more places. The jokes are better.
I think it's not even that. The reworking, if you watch the movie, we'll get to Rogue One, but it comes down to pacing. Guardians of the Galaxy 1's pacing is very good. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 it's hit or miss. It's the movie gets very long in its tooth in the middle. And
like I said, I've only seen it once, and the things that I enjoy in films, I felt that it had, and the things that I am tired of. Because, like, honestly, I am so tired of Superman, like any superhero origins film, that it feels like I'm watching Batman's parents get shot in every fucking one of them.
That's right, you are
and because it's just so. It is so formulaic. It's why I like, as much as Spider-Man Homecoming looks interesting, and I love the fact that the name is throwing shade on Sony. Well played. But I am probably not going to see it because I don't need to see Uncle Ben get shot again, and I don't need to see him get bit by a spider.
No, I don't think we're going to. That's not in the movie.
They already said the Uncle Ben scene's not happening. He's already dead.
That was all done before Civil War.
Yeah.
They will not do the origin story.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being said...
Okay, now I'm actually interested in seeing Spider-Man.
The problem
because
with Spider-Man... We're going to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming now. The problem with Spider-Man Homecoming is in the second trailer, they showed you the entire fucking movie.
Because Sony. Because fucking Sony.
I can literally tell you exactly how that movie is going to progress.
Watch a fucking Marvel trailer and watch the Homecoming trailer, and you'll see that they're cut by different companies. Because Sony trailers are so fucking bad. They're the worst. They're the worst.
Listen, Aunt May is a fucking hot MILF in this one, so that might be worth the ticket price.
All right, so let's talk about Wonder Woman. I thought Wonder Woman was a good movie. I think it is the best that DC has put out, which is a little different than the conversation that we had, but I've changed my mind on that. I think it's the best that DC has put out for the cinematic universe. I don't think it cracks Marvel's top 5.
Better than Man of Steel?
I do think it's better than Man of Steel, and I'll talk about that.
Man of Steel is so boring.
I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into it.
Fair.
But Wonder Woman, I think Wonder Woman is again, it's the formula. It's a good formulaic movie. It plays well. I think it's about a half hour too long. I think that the movie needed to be cut down.
Yes.
There were amazing, awesome parts in that movie. There were a couple fun giggle parts in the movie. Generally, I felt like the movie was done well, but I think the biggest problem with it was I didn't think Gal Gadot did a good job when it came to the dramatic moments, right? She was good in every other moment, being smoky and aloof and being angry and fighting. All of that was fantastic. But when, and again, we're going to be a little bit spoilery here, when like the village gets bombed, and she's like, the people, what about the children?
The worst
I
part,
didn't think she was able to sell it. And Chris Pine outshines her in every scene.
The worst part about that scene is that it happens literally right after the best scene in the movie.
Right, yeah.
So seeing her be amazing...
not literally right after.
Seeing her being awesome...
Because it happened after the stupid dance where she had a sword between her butt cheeks that nobody noticed.
Okay.
What was your take on the movie, Nathan?
So I just want to counter that but can we expect strong dramatic performances out of a former model and Fast and Furious actor? Because I do not believe that there's anyone from the Fast and Furious film franchise that could meet your criteria here. So,
Paul Walker from Beyond the Grave in a Wonder Woman costume. Wonder Woman, everybody. No, like, but here's the thing. I agree with you. Like, I don't think that she was meant to come in. as that actor. But if I was the
Yeah.
person making that movie, I would never have put her in that situation.
But
right?
Patty Jenkins
Fair.
got her from someone else's casting.
Well, but no, I think she's still the best Wonder Woman you could have cast.
Okay.
She's perfect for it. And she
Yeah,
put
I
some
can't
muscle on.
think
She
of-
bulked up. She looked really, really good in that. But
Well,
like,
and she really did bulk up because we had a friend from Calgary fly in and visit. We saw Wonder Woman in theaters together. She hadn't seen Batman v Superman and wanted to watch it, so we sat down and watched it, and she is easily like 30, 40 pounds smaller, just in terms of muscle mass between Batman v Superman and Wonder Woman. So she bulked the fuck up.
well, from the first picture that we saw of her in that costume, we could tell that she had absolutely bulked up, and she looked like she had a much more muscular frame, which was great for like the Amazon picture. I think Chris Pine steals the movie. I think Chris Pine was so good in it, and like even though they're like shoehorning in the like this is the scene where she saves them again, like that, even that, it all worked. Like it was fun. Although there was like when the Nazis were down and then the one dude ate his tooth with the cyanide in it, and there was still like 3 other Nazis, and they're like, well, I guess there's nothing we can do about it. I'm like, you got a lasso, man. Like you just fucking ask those Nazis. How did the Nazis get to New York, and why did nobody do anything about that?
London.
It's London.
London.
And they're not Nazis, it's World War One.
It's okay. Lang flunked history because he was educated in America.
They're
They
all
actually
Nazis.
don't.
Arizona.
Every war, you fought Nazis.
37th in education.
When we went to
everybody.
Vietnam, there were Nazis.
You guys know what I'm fucking saying.
Listen, Mississippi
Germans.
exists, so you're never dead last. So you're good on that.
So, but okay, before you get into this, the thing I want to talk about was like, we're gonna get into a bit more spoilers going
Yeah.
forward here.
Spoiler
So,
alert.
you know, keep an eye. We'll try not to spoil too much.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here we go. The twists in this movie were so fucking obvious.
Yeah.
That it was comedy. Like it was pure comedy. When they're talking about the God Killer, you know exactly what they're talking about from the very
100%.
fucking beginning of the movie. As soon as they introduce the guy, you're like, that's fucking Ares.
Yeah.
You immediately know
It's not
that
the
that's-
German guy, it's the other guy behind the scenes.
I was trying to be vague, but yeah. The big thing is like, you know almost immediately that everything that they're doing is just so ham-fisted and so obvious. But then she steps up out of a fucking trench and walks into machine gun fire. God damn, that scene was so good.
It is good.
Best scene in the fucking movie.
Too bad you saw it in every fucking trailer.
Yeah, if they hadn't have shown it in the
Give a
trailer.
shit, because that scene is good enough to stand on its own.
It is.
I saw all 12 superheroes running at each other in every Civil War trailer. It doesn't take away from
That is a really good point.
That's a good point.
So here's the thing. I did like this movie, and again, I'll rag on it because there's so many fucking problems with this movie, and there were so many times in the theater when I was just Matt and I would just turn and look at each other at the same time and kind of groan at just the stupidity of it.
But by the fourth time in the second act in 20 minutes that she's the fish out of water, and you're just like,
I can't figure out how doors work.
and
Yeah.
you're like, can we just move forward? Like, we get it. She's a goofy character in a fish out of water story. Oh, look how crazy she is. She's not from around here. How did the boat teleport from the island that's not close to the
everything
English
in the movie is
Isle?
like 5 minutes away from the next scene.
No, but
like walking distance.
my biggest beef with the movie is that she fights Emperor Palpatine at the end. Like, it's like Ares is just a Sith Lord. He has indiscriminate powers. He's a fucking blue shining light in the middle of the dark. He shoots
Turns
lightning.
into a giant CG monster.
He shoots lightning and he force pushes stuff around. He just checks off all the boxes.
It was like Doctor Doom from Fan Force did, where
it turns into a horror movie. And
they couldn't really decide what kind of powers he wanted, so they just kind of gave him anything.
everything.
He can teleport.
Yeah.
He's psychic.
still better than Doomsday being a Moria cave
my
troll.
God.
No.
I liked him.
This is why this movie is better than that movie.
Well,
because
he was really good as Ares because, like,
Yeah.
when he's monologuing, I
Yeah.
bought every minute of it. There was no reason for him to be there in the first place. It made no sense for him to show up at that point in the movie.
He makes two swords appear and gets beat up by a girl with no sword and a shield, but whatever.
Who's apparently telekinetic by the end of the movie.
He's the god of war, but he just can't.
Like I said, I think that they had so much good in there, and it was just they fell into that trap, where
Same as Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where the last third of the movie is just a big CGI.
It's just a big CG mess.
fuckfest, yeah.
But I liked the movie. Like, I thought it was a good movie. It absolutely worked.
No,
It's better than Man of Steel because
Yes.
Man of Steel,
I'll
there's
give you
90
that.
minutes of awesomeness,
I would if
and then
you,
90 minutes plus some extra.
If you told me
of just bullshit,
if you told me one night you were like, "Hey, let's watch Wonder Woman again," I'd watch it. If you were like, "Hey, let's watch Man of Steel again," I would watch it. But either
I would not watch it. No.
It honestly might depend on which one I see most recently, which one I like more.
I don't ever want to watch Man of Steel again. I will.
See,
I will YouTube the parts that I liked.
When is the last time you've watched Man of Steel, Maddie?
I think I watched it right after Suicide Squad again. I watched it on Netflix.
Really, and you actually enjoyed it? Because see,
It's like every DC movie that we've seen so far. There's lots of very good, and there's lots of stuff you got to slog through that's very bad.
But I felt that, like, for me, Man of Steel, like, I remember when we watched it in theaters together, Lang, we walked out and you're like, I don't think that was good. And I was like, I honestly have no opinion because, like you just said, Matt, there are some really good parts in it. And Michael Shannon stole the scene and it was great.
He's an awesome villain.
Oh, he's fucking fantastic. And
but you got to slog through a lot of shit to get to. And then you
had to slog through everything. So I was kind of on the fence about it. And then for my birthday, I asked for because I have a 3D TV and I love it, and I just wanted some 3D disaster porn. So I asked Terry to grab Man of Steel for 3D on 3D for my birthday. And I remember watching it again because, like, I always knew that every scene with Russell Crowe was completely unnecessary and could have been cut to save 40 minutes of runtime because he added nothing to the film.
My two Robin Hood dads, yeah,
my two Robin Hood dads.
No, and those are bad. But even Batman v Superman, the first 20 minutes tricks you into thinking this movie's going to be amazing.
Yeah, but see,
and the best part of that movie is the first 20 minutes.
Which is literally just a rehash of what's coming out of Man of Steel. So
you forget that I am the 1% that Batman v Superman was made for. So for me, I caught every inside reference, every in-joke, and I was able to follow the plot, and it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because I have the 1,000 volumes of comic pre-reading you needed to do in order for that movie to make sense.
And neither of us are DC fans.
Batman v Superman described as the most expensive indie film ever made. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
So for Wonder Woman, Nathan, I'm curious.
Fan films.
I said it a couple of times, and I don't know if you responded or not. I felt like Chris Pine was the real selling point of this movie because I think every scene that he was in, he was great. His last sequence in the movie was phenomenal, and again, because he's constantly being paired against Gal Gadot, and she's like, I don't know, my world is falling apart, I'm having a crisis of self. By the third time she's having her crisis of self, grabbing her fucking head, he's there and he's just like, I have to go, I can't, like, I need your help, you have to come with me, no, okay, I have to go. And, like, everything leading up to the end for him in the movie is phenomenal. Like, he's just so good in that movie. I felt like that undercut her so much. I felt like it was just bad. It was a bad decision to put her as an actor into those roles or into those emotions in the first movie. Like, this character did not need to have a crisis of self 3 times in the fucking movie.
You know, okay, so I mean, I like it. I agree with you that Chris Pine stole it, but I like Chris Pine. I mean, fucking,
yeah, like Chris Pine?
I just watched Smokin' Aces.
He's so good in that movie. Oh my god, that movie's amazing.
So fucking incredible.
That is an amazing movie.
It's a fucking blast. But like, and again, like, he's just incredible in it. So I mean, like, I already love Chris Pine. So yes, Chris Pine stole everything. My only quibble, and Terry and I disagree on this because she was a big Wonder Woman comic buff, whereas I wasn't. I mean, I was familiar with her from the Justice League, and it's DC, so of course everyone knows Wonder Woman. I felt that, especially because, as you guys pointed out, everything is a day away. Like, Themyscira in the Mediterranean is a day away from London. Yeah. Because we got a tugboat, took us the rest of the way. I'm like, I am sorry, you're not even past Spain yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't fuck yourself. That's not how wind works, even though she is a god. Great.
My wall hurts my butt. I gotta move it.
I didn't feel like there was any passage of time in the movie. It really just felt like this is Chris Pine's really bad week. Yeah, right. Or even an episode of 24, for fuck's sake. Like, this is how awful the time transitions were. And so when we get to the final scene, and you find out that when she's shell-shocked, and I actually love the way Patty Jenkins did that. I love the fact that we had a retelling of that scene of actually what Chris Pine said instead of just the ringing in her ears. I thought that was beautifully done, just from a cinematography standpoint. But when he was like, "I love you," I'm like, you don't even fucking know her.
Yeah.
You've spent 5 days together. How the fuck do you love her?
So, like,
robbed that scene of the emotional impact of the sacrifice. If he was just like, I have to do this, lives are on the line, and he got into that fucking plane and he blew it up top there, you'd just be like, oh my god, man, tear. Like, yes, that was so perfectly done.
Maddie's making drinks, Terry.
But the whole I love you took away the emotional impact because, again, they did such a bad job of passing the time in the film.
They shouldn't have fucked.
Right?
That was the problem. Like, if you compare this to Captain America, like the first Avenger, it's all about, like, we're going to have our first dance, and maybe we got kind of close to kissing at one point. She kind of gave me a smooch right before I left. You know, like, it's very much kind of one of those things where... Some down-home American smooching. Like, it's one of those things where, like, it moves too fast for me. You know, like, they have a battle, people die, they're very sad. And then they have a party with dancing and candles, and the townsfolk are happy. And then they go up to a room, and then he looks like he's going to leave, and then he decides, no, we're going to fuck. And then they fuck, and then the next day they're like, I fucking love you. And you're like, that's too fast. You shouldn't be that. You shouldn't do that shit. That's wrong.
Especially in 1918.
Like, it would have been much better if they didn't fuck. Yes, Matt.
Yeah, it would have been. Sorry, let me. But no, I mean,
he's making drinks in the kitchen.
Jesus. Matt, stop masturbating with your shake weight.
We can hear
Jesus Christ. But no, they shouldn't have had sex because if only because. I understand why, because I mean, like, based on the whole thing where it's just like, yeah, men are needed for procreation, but not for pleasure. Like, it's clear that growing up with Themyscira, and she was who knows how old, because it's clear that magic stops their aging at whatever they choose, because there were old Amazons and young Amazons, but fine. I can suspend my disbelief here. So she is, God knows how long. She is clearly aware of sex and pleasure, and so she's not going to have any hang-ups about having sex. But why would Chris Pine fuck? And I think that's more the issue, is like, I'm totally okay with liberated women's sexuality and different cultures, even though this is 1918, because they've established that the Amazons clearly get down with each other.
Yeah. Well, and I just felt like they did not need to address sexuality at all for that character, because she's supposed to be this sort of... She plays as a very infantile character, especially when she gets to the New World and doors confuse her. But, you know, again, I want to kind of wrap this up. When Matt comes back here, we'll move on to the next bit. But one of the big things with Wonder Woman that I felt was done very, very well was that they kind of knew the story that they wanted to tell.
That tastes way better.
All right. They knew the story that they wanted to tell, and they told it. And they didn't go overboard, and it wasn't like offensively stupid like Suicide Squad or you know, some of the other DC movies.
But again, Suicide Squad had no story, and it was basically just a cobbled together clip show starring Will Smith and Margot Robbie. And Batman v Superman
with neon signs.
And Batman v Superman made the problem where they took literally the two most seminal comic book stories of the 1990s in both the Batman and Superman canon and decided, sure, these stories that were told through 50-plus comic issues each, I can mash together and make a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah, let's make a 2.5-hour movie. Our second movie of our cinematic universe.
It's going to take,
let's use the two biggest bullets.
He just said that.
Yeah.
But you just said that out loud into the microphone, Matt.
Right. But
all right, moving on. We're going to talk a little bit about movie news here. So Matt has something we're going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't hear the news, Lord and Miller were fired. They weren't. It wasn't creative differences. They were fired from the Han Solo movie, and they were literally 3 weeks away from finishing their principal photography. I don't know what it is with Lucasfilm, but they seem to just decide that all their standalone movies, they're going to be the most overbearing film conglomerate imaginable, where the Saga film guys, they just run on all cylinders, no problem. Because this is the second standalone film that they have already fucking meddled in. Like, heavily meddled. Like, DC levels of meddling. And I don't think that Disney should get
John Peters level of meddling.
I don't think Disney should get away with them having the Disney brand and it being Star Wars, that they should get away with not being called out for that.
Well, I think so. For me, it is really interesting too because Disney owns Marvel, Disney owns Star Wars. They basically let Marvel do its own fucking thing, and I totally understand when you've got
except for Ant-Man.
When you've got like 20 billion. But again, Ant-Man was still new in the MCU. If they wanted, like, Doctor Strange would never have been made if it was the third fucking Marvel movie.
No, absolutely.
Period.
No. He's B-list.
Period. And that was the thing with Ant-Man, is he was still very, very new in the MCU history. And they've made enough money now that Disney leaves them the fuck alone. But you have to remember, Disney spent $4 billion buying the rights to the Star Wars movies, and they basically need everything to be a surefire hit because the prequels exist. And the prequels did so much damage to the Star Wars brand that, I mean, I even remember before Force Awakens came out, you and I, like, we'd be talking every fucking trailer, be like, oh man, I'm so excited. This is Phantom Menace again, isn't it? Like, everything I see looks so good.
Well, I believe our exact words were, this movie's going to be shit, because if I let myself think that it's going to be anything other than shit, I'm going to hate myself moving forward. You know, the Han Solo thing, the only good thing that I've seen out of that so far is Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian.
Yes.
That is the only good thing I've seen so far out of that. It is the dumbest idea for them to make a prequel for Han Solo. I'm going to rant about this a little bit.
Go.
We're done. We're done with Han Solo. He's fucking dead. We saw a lot of movies with Han Solo. We've seen a lot of stories from Han Solo in the EU and in the comics and in all that kind of stuff. It is completely unnecessary for them to now give the mysterious smuggler with the heart of gold the backstory about how he became the mysterious smuggler with the heart of gold. All that's going to do is take away the mystique. This is going to be a 2-hour Greedo shooting first movie. Like, and that is what is going to kill me about this.
I wish the whole movie was 2 hours of them just building it around a game of Sabacc.
Well, I mean, that would be fun.
that would have been cool.
No, it just needs to be Lando Calrissian.
Yeah,
just give me a Lando Calrissian movie.
You just want Star Wars Casino Royale.
Yeah, no, if that was what they were pitching, that would be a good idea. But that is not what we're fucking
so
getting.
We're going to start out.
No.
Han Solo parkouring through a space station, chasing another guy who is also parkouring. All right, Flash 2.
It's going to be Casino Royale with a Wookiee.
Did you not realize that?
Jesus Christ. Okay, so
maybe it's the casino scene from Casino Royale, not the
and then he's gonna cry because the woman he loved died.
He already has a wife. It's fine. Don't worry. Shut up.
And that's why he has a heart of gold.
See, we got agreement. We got agreement in the chat here. The Lando Calrissian movie would be much better with Han Solo as a side character.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
all you needed to do. It did not need to be.
It just
a
needed
fucking Han Solo
it just
movie.
needed to have. It needed to be called Lando with Han cameos.
No,
that's the full title.
Yeah,
Lando versus Han.
Yes. Like, George Lucas is the fucking master of killing his own franchises. And he proved that with the fucking prequels, where he just releases these unwatchable piece of shit movies that literally detract so much from the character. Because remember, Darth Vader pre-prequels was like the seminal villain. Everybody fucking loved him, and he was badass. And he was all of these things.
Citizen Smith 42 in the chat brought up an interesting point. He says it'll be the Kessel Run. That's actually what we're going to get for this movie. I don't think we're going to get that for this movie because I don't think he has the Millennium Falcon. The ending is going to be him getting the Millennium Falcon.
Is going to be him beating Lando in the card game
in Savik.
Damn well better not, because literally there is nothing interesting about Han Solo's character that is not already on screen.
Exactly.
It doesn't need to be there. That's the problem. Like,
no, and that's what I was saying before we kind of got derailed with the comment, where it's just like George Lucas proved that giving too much information will 100% ruin a character.
Well,
Qui-Gon, what are midichlorians?
And this is fucking Lawrence Kasdan on writing his fucking Star Wars movie, and I think that's why Kathleen Kennedy is so emotionally invested in it, because there was supposedly in the reports there's been lots of beef on set with Lawrence and the fucking directors, and Lawrence was like, get them the fuck out of here. Like, it's just one of those things where this is Lawrence Kasdan's fucking baby, and he doesn't like what's going on the set. But this goes into my next point about Rogue One, which is a movie I fucking love.
Yeah, Rogue One's fantastic.
Rogue One's fucking amazing the first time you watch it. The second time, you can literally skip the first 45 minutes because the traveling around the galaxy for the first 45 minutes.
Pretty slow, the first 45 minutes.
Is terrible. But at least Gareth Edwards had enough. At least Gareth Edwards had enough sense to get on the Star Wars train with Kathleen Kennedy and let his buddy do the reshoots. I'm not super excited about that. I don't really like that. But the movie we got out of it was great. So I have to
even though it had nothing to do with any of the trailers whatsoever.
Oh my god, right? It's the first I watched the first two I watched the first two I watch the first two trailers all the time. Lang comes over at least once a week and I'm just like, "Hey, do you remember watching these two trailers and watching this one?"
We constantly argue about which is the best trailer ever made. But without going
that's easy. Star Wars The Old Republic, Alderaan's Hope.
No, I still think The Force Awakens is trailer 3 is better, but I don't want to get into that. When it comes to the Han Solo movie, it's not a surprise to me that shit's going south, because I think you are going to have a lot of people who are kind of forced into the situation where they're kind of making this movie because it's a Star Wars movie, and if you have the opportunity to make a Star Wars movie, you fucking do it. And Disney are the ones saying, well, we have to take a principal character and give him a fucking prequel because that's how you make money, and it's going to sell tickets anyway, so who cares?
I know. I hope it's a disaster so that they scrap the Boba Fett and Yoda prequels that they're planning, because the only thing that sounds worse than a Han Solo movie is a Boba Fett prequel, and the only thing that sounds worse than that is a Yoda prequel.
All right, so the scene where Yoda hooks up with Wonder Woman's fucking tasteless. But
listen, we don't know the DCEU, but we know that Gamora got around. Green alien, okay? Come on. Match made in fucking heaven.
So here's the thing. When it comes to movies for Star Wars that Disney has done so far, they've all been terrible ideas. Deciding to make Episode 7, when they announced it, I was convinced that was a shit idea. And I still to this day think that was terrible. You should have done Old Republic. You should have told a different story. But that's well, hold on. Let me get to this point. They dunked it. They dunked that shit, right? Like, they found the story that made it work. When they said Rogue One is going to be the prequel sequel in between Episode 3 and Episode 4, I thought to myself, that's fucking stupid. What a dumb idea. Why would you decide... Hold on, you're fucking shit up now.
Sorry.
Why would you decide to go into these movies that are already so well established? You're setting yourself up for failure, a la the prequels. But again, they nailed it. They hit the nail on the head. They slam dunked it.
They stick the landing on that
movie. And that was it, right? So I have hope for Han Solo. I have hope for the fact that even though this is the third terrible idea that they've come up with in terms of the plot and the premise, and maybe I just don't know shit, it'll work. And maybe it does become a fucking Lando Calrissian movie. And if that's the case, it could be amazing.
You're right. I would love to see a Lando spin-off out of it. But no, you're absolutely right, though, because we did talk about Episode 7 fundamentally was a shit idea because the Star Wars universe is vast, the Star Wars universe is interesting, and you could have literally told any story you wanted to within there, but they did nail it. Beyond that, again, the same things you said about Rogue One. To me, I feel like this is still Disney hardcore meddling and going with the safest of safe Hollywood ideas. Star Wars for Disney has not made MCU money, so they don't get to do Ant-Man and Doctor Strange yet. And until they get to that level where this investment, this purchase price has been paid off, because, don't get me wrong, Force Awakens broke $1 billion, Rogue One broke $1 billion, it's still only half. And that's not even counting production costs of those two movies. So they are still very far away from breaking even on the purchase price. And until they do, we're going to keep getting these shitty, safe ideas where executives are just like, hey, you know who people like? Characters they already know. You're not allowed to stray from there. That's what it is. And like I said, until they get 5 or 6 fucking wins in a row, and they've paid off that $4 billion purchase price, and they are making runaway hit. Because again, When Marvel got free license was when Avengers broke box office records. So we just need a Star Wars Avengers style hit. And then Disney will back the fuck off and let the actual creative types that aren't jamming safe, marketable ideas. Because right now, it sounds like the marketing department is picking the film premises, and then they're hiring talented screenwriters to make it fit within the marketing plan.
The only safe movie I want to see from Star Wars that I would take would be Obi-Wan in the desert. I would see Obi-Wan.
But we have Star Wars Rebels for that.
I want more.
Star Wars Rebels is really fucking
give me
good,
2
man.
hours
You're fucking up if you're not watching
Give me 2
Star Wars
hours
Rebels.
of fucking grade up Ewan McGregor walking around the desert being Obi-Wan Kenobi. I would take 2 hours of that.
He's not old Ben. I don't want it to be Ewan McGregor.
It has to be. He's so good.
No.
He's great.
I don't think you can fuck with that. All right, so we're coming to the end here. So we got about a half hour before we're going to call it quits here, and I think it's getting pretty late for Nathan, so let's roll ourselves forward. Let's talk a little bit about television. Specifically...
House of Cards was great.
No, specifically Doctor Who. We're going to talk about Doctor Who. So, I would like you to keep in mind that Doctor Who has not been that bad this season. It's definitely better than the last season.
But that's what I was going to say, is after you've been beaten for the last 3 seasons, when they stop spitting in... When they stop spitting in your food, you're just like, oh my god, this is incredible. And that's where you're at with Doctor Who.
So here's the thing. Doctor Who starts out, and it's essentially picking up from the terrible shit episode with Clara going off in her fucking shit. It picks up with the Doctor spending his 24-year evening on Beryllium with River Song, who essentially is just a con artist who faked him into loving her. He now has a wedding ring. He has a wedding ring and a picture of her and one of his other previous companions that he was in love with on his desk, because he is now a professor at a big school in England, in London. And he gives all of these awesome rock and roll-esque like lectures to his class about time and all this kind of stuff. And then that's when he meets Bill Potts, which is already kind of a red flag, because she has the same name as his previous companions. So Bill Potts is a lesbian. They focus on that a lot.
It's a chick named Bill.
Yeah, it's a chick named Bill because she's very butch and she's a lesbian. She likes women. Which I don't have a problem with, and neither does the Doctor, oddly enough. When it comes down to it, the story, the first episode with her in it, is just about a puddle. And it's just how puddles have funny reflections.
Oh, man, that sounds so much better.
Then a puddle chases them. TV. The puddle chases them around the universe and through time and space, because puddles can do that.
That is must-see TV right there. Is it on NBC's Friday night lineup?
No, it's on Space. So here's the thing. Doctor Who's been pretty good. Honestly, the episodes are not terrible. And for the most part, I would say that you should probably not watch it. Let me be your boy. I'm going to go ahead and take that bullet for you, jump on that grenade, and see whether or not that shit goes off or if it's a dud. Right now, I can't tell you. I
wasn't gonna watch it, so I'm glad you're also willing to do that for me.
I'm just saying, like, it's
I was
better.
Just gonna Maddie the shit out of the situation and run away.
It's better, but it is not great.
So let's make Maddie.
You have to.
If you haven't watched The Expanse, season 2 ended a couple months ago. The Expanse is phenomenal. I keep telling Nathan that he has to watch it, but he's dragging his fucking feet.
You keep telling me I gotta watch it.
You do have to watch it. It's fucking fantastic.
I literally only have Netflix. If it's
that's
not
all
on
I have too. Thank you.
I will send you a link.
Get around to it.
I will send you a link.
Yes, I know, and that's not something that I can watch on my fucking television. So
you can if you plug a laptop into it. So, at this point, let's throw it to the chat. If the chat has any questions that they'd like to ask us about TV or about movies or stuff like that, This is kind of your opportunity to ask us what we thought about specific stuff. Somebody mentioned about Ghost in the Shell. I kind of said we haven't seen Ghost in the Shell. We did want to see it, but I think we were out of town during the periods of time that it was in the theater. We'll watch it on my TV when it comes on. We'll eventually watch Ghost in the Shell, and we'll go into it for you guys.
What is wrong with you two?
Somebody said that they love Dark Matter. The fuck is wrong with you, Mad Drop? That show is garbage. That is one of the dumbest fucking wannabe Firefly TV shows I've ever seen. It is absolute trash. I could not stomach 3 episodes of that series. It was total shit. I've watched The Leftovers. I watched the 3rd season. Let me close this again. I watched the 3rd season of The Leftovers. My wife and I finished it. It is my wife's absolute favorite show. If you haven't seen The Leftovers, it is a really fucked up story with fucked up people. It's incredibly depressing, but it's also very uplifting at the same time. The general premise of the show is that on one day, October 14th, 2% of the Earth's population disappear. And then it's just about how the world goes fucking bananas because of this weird event. It doesn't impact, the economy. It doesn't impact a lot of stuff. The world kind of, the human race goes on. But everybody's really screwed up, and all these cults start showing up, and all these really weird things start happening.
And it's only 2% of the population?
2% of the population.
Sounds like Rapture Palooza.
So it's like 200 million people?
Yeah, essentially. Like, it like a lot of people go away, right? But, like, it's really good. It is worth watching, but it is incredibly slow. And at the end of it, the story is, you realize that, like, you thought it was a dystopian, like, drama. But by the time you get to the end of the show, because it's only 3 seasons, 10 episodes, 8 episodes for the 3rd season, you realize that it's actually something entirely different. And I can't actually tell you what that is because I would give it away. Just be prepared to be relatively unfulfilled, because this is a show that does not tell you it does not answer a lot of the questions that you have.
Speaking of TV, when are we going to watch Attack on Titan Season 2?
When we have a chance.
Okay.
We still have to finish Harry Potter.
I was going to say,
Matt watched the first Harry Potter with me.
Oh my god, it's so. Oh my god, like watching them grow up is just magical,
It's amazing.
It's just like it's so whimsical, and
but the first one is terrible.
The first one is not great.
It is bad.
Listen,
Killjoy is also terrible, and you're fucking stupid. It's just another fucking Firefly ripoff. People trying to cash in on Firefly. It's a terrible dubstep-infused fucking TV show. It's awful. I haven't watched. I watched half the first season and I quit it.
Yeah.
Matt, Harry Potter movies get amazing, starting at Prisoner of Azkaban, which is number 3.
That's what I've been told. But man, that first one was holy.
You have to remember that the first one was
it is 17 years ago. It was 17 years ago. I will say that.
Yeah, it was 17 years ago, and it was before Harry Potter was a fucking thing. So it was a low-budget adaptation of a kid's book.
I've been in Canada for 17 years.
No, trust me. I went and looked at like some of the IMDb and I Wikipedia like just to go through it again, and I was like, holy shit, this movie came out in 2000.
Yeah.
It came out the same year as X-Men 1. And Spider-Man 1.
Hugh Jackman's been in every one of them. No, but like I said, they do get better, but only after they became, again, the box office success, and Warner just started throwing money at them.
Yeah, no, I can see it, because trust me, like...
But anyway,
first movie...
Hold on, we got some more stuff from the chat here.
What I was trying to say, Lang, is when you were talking about like it being unfulfilling, did you ever catch Glitch? It was a Australian Broadcasting Corporation show.
I watched about half of it, and then I got bored and stopped watching it.
See, I watched all 6 because there's only 6, and my wife was out of town for a week, so what the fuck else was I supposed to do with my time?
Yeah, I was meant to go back to it.
I really enjoy it, but again, exactly the same thing you said, where it's just like, you've got fucking questions, and they will never even hint at an answer, because it's clear that they were like, we don't know if we're getting a season 2, guys. Let's just frame it so that everything that people want looks like it'll come in the next season, and cross our fingers.
Let's talk about Marvel TV shows.
So we'll get to that. So the next question that we had from the chat was, is the new Twin Peaks any good? I don't know. I didn't watch the original Twin Peaks.
I've never seen it.
So I have no urge to watch the new Twin Peaks. Sorry. Nothing. I got nothing for you there. There was another comment regarding Into the Badlands, or as I like to call it, Into the Blandlands. Whoo!
How do you have time to watch all this TV?
That's a personal question, Nato.
Oh, okay.
I stay up till 2 a.m.
Okay.
It's a
Every
loveless marriage. That's
It
all.
is. Hey, listen, what I do for you. I do for you. I do for all of you. That's how you. That's how I know.
You have as much knowledge about TV shows as I have about movie news.
So into the Badlands, the first season was mediocre at best, but you've got fucking dude from Guardians of the Galaxy played Ronan, Chris Lee Pace. Lee Pace is an amazing villain in Into the Badlands, and he's really good in it. Yeah, he's just a phenomenal actor. But then like the kung fu's pretty cool, but like it doesn't take you that far. The character's really dumb and bland. And then the second season they introduced Nick Frost. Fucking Simon Pegg's boy, Nick Frost, from all of your favorites. Like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. He's funny, and it's a good addition to the show, but the show is just so bad and it's so boring. My wife and I were watching it, and we just completely lost all interest in it whatsoever. So let's talk about Marvel shows.
Yeah, because those are the ones I've actually seen.
I got the Pops Barbershop shirt on, full of bullet holes. Even though Luke Cage was the worst thing Marvel's done up until this point, if you ask me.
Yeah, but that's because you're a racist. You love whitewashing, so that's why you're gonna like Ghost in the Shell. I'm sure you enjoyed Iron Fist.
Iron Fist was okay at best. I mean, the worst part about Iron Fist was they made Danny Rand the most unlikable character they possibly could.
I think Luke Cage is offensively racist to black people because it's written by a bunch of Jewish white dudes who think they've watched 2 seasons of the fucking Wire.
Yeah, they watched The Wire.
It's offensive. How many regular people that I rolled with back where I grew up do not say the cut every third fucking sentence.
When you're laying in the cut,
I'm just always in the
for
cut.
Everything.
I'm
what are you doing?
My boys.
Laying in the cut.
I'm chilling in the cut with my boys. I'm just over the cut.
You're on Jaded Gamershow.
I'm going to be jamming up to my cut soon so I can go see what's happening.
No, listen. I'm not saying that Luke Cage was good, and I have not, nor will I watch Iron Fist. So
what's wrong with Iron Fist?
Iron Fist was okay if you like kung fu movies.
I thought Iron Fist was fine.
Listen,
it's no more offensive than Luke Cage.
Daredevil 1 is good. Daredevil 2 is great. Jessica Jones is my favorite, if only because the whole Kilgrave psychological, like PTSD aspect of it, I really enjoy.
I will get behind you on that because Kilgrave is the best villain in all the Marvel TV shows.
Fucking hands down. And Daredevil season 1 had the literal worst villain. Actually, no, that's not true because Luke Cage has 2 terrible fucking villains.
Which one?
Each one stupider than the last.
Diamondback and Cottonmouth.
No, Cottonmouth is
listen,
great.
Cottonmouth was fucking incredible, and then they
have someone who's too good to be on the shows again. Every time they get actors who are amazing, the guy who plays Kilgrave and David Tennant and Michelle.
Sure.
Mahershala
Ali. I'm not even going to attempt his name.
Mahershala Ali.
Those 2 people are way too good to be on those shows because they are just amazing actors.
Oh, they absolutely are.
And they act circles around everybody else. And then the guy who plays Diamondback is literally the worst thing that's ever been put on television.
You're absolutely right, and that's why, like, the very end of Luke Cage, when they're just like, I'm gonna give him superpowers now. I'm just like, fuck this fucking show. Are you fucking kidding me?
No. He just gets the punch suit. He has a
Stark Tech punch suit.
Remember, crazy doctor
with
the data lets himself into the fucking hotel room with them, planning to give him powers like Luke Cage.
No. The best thing, the worst thing about that series is like literally the third last episode when the guy who plays Shades is literally like, "Do you have a plan?" And he's like, "No." And then he's the big bad, and he's just like, "I just kind of shoot walls."
The worst part of that show was that episode with the stupid salt bath where they threw the worst kind of pseudoscience you've ever heard, where they're just like, it's boiling hot acid, we need to throw more salt in it. And he's like, bro, the acid. And then it's fine. The acid just doesn't hurt him anymore. It's not bubbling anymore. Like, that's how we get his powers back.
But like I said, everything Danny Rand in Iron Fist is there's nothing more offensive or bland or anything that's off the wall stupid that's as bad as Luke Cage. Those 2 shows are on the same level. They're just different.
I think here's the thing. Iron Fist is a pretty decent show if you like old kung fu movies. If you don't like old kung fu movies, a lot of that show falls apart. what they do is they give you every old kung fu movie trope in
just
that fucking
just
series.
Just like Luke Cage gives you every 1970s black movie trope.
Sure. And again, like I said, I'm not arguing. Like I said, I will not watch Iron Fist. So, yes, Luke Cage is absolutely the worst Marvel Netflix
Well, and then
show.
the Meachums.
Sure.
The Meachums in Iron Fist were very good. The story with the Meachums kind of take the front stage when Aramir's yelling at his son.
Again, the three villains in the movie, the three villains in the show, the son and Faramir are too good to be in that show. Oh, and
fucking Madame Gao is so fucking good in Iron Fist.
But she's been good in every Netflix show. But like the two guys who play the son and the Faramir and his son are actors who are way too good again to be in that show because all they do is act circles around Danny
Dick
Rand.
and Dick Meacham. Yeah, that's all I remember. Their hair is slicked back.
Yeah, they're too good to be in the. I don't know what it is with Marvel TV shows where they cast like extremely amazing good actors in the villain roles and they just act circles around the main leads.
We had a question that asked, should I skip Luke Cage and Iron Fist? Honestly, they're the two that you absolutely can skip.
Yeah.
The only time I should say you should skip them is if you just don't care about those characters and their backstory.
The only thing I'll say about Iron Fist is that because it involves the hand so much, and the hand's what they're going to be fighting in Defenders, is that there's going to be a lot of things that happen.
There's a lot of story there. There's no story in Luke Cage.
There's
nothing to pick up.
There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in Defenders that's going to call back to Iron Fist. I don't know what in any show in Marvel is going to call back to Luke Cage besides the girl who's on the radio.
Oh, Hellcat. Yeah.
Yeah, besides her. Other than that, there's no callbacks in Luke Cage. It's just Luke Cage being Luke Cage.
Yeah, all right, so we're going to finish off our little discussion here. We're going to talk a little bit about books that we've been reading. Maddie and I have been going for the Horus Heresy books pretty heavily. I'm just about done with the Garo compilation. I listen to audiobooks for the Horus Heresy, so
I still read them.
You still read them. So I've listened to most of the Garo audiobooks, the short dramas and stuff like that. And this was a bit of a compilation with a new big one at the very end, which was actually really, really interesting. And then Nathan, where are you in the Horus Heresy? Because we don't want to spoil anything for you.
Praetorian Adorn was the last one that I read. I'm still
so good. Good.
Yeah. I was gonna say Praetorian Adorn was fantastic. I, as an Alpha Legionnaire, I didn't like the ending, but hey, you can't win them all.
No, but there's so many questions about it now.
But this is where we start getting into spoiler territory for these books. Let's stay spoiler free.
Yeah.
I don't think that ending was what we thought it was.
Yes, you and I have had that discussion.
We had that discussion. Maddie and I have had that discussion. He reread the end of that book to verify that shit. Maddie goes down fluff rabbit holes, as he says.
40K fluff rabbit holes.
And again, what we have discussed, this will be completely spoiler free, is possible because so much of that book is written from the first person perspective, and you don't get that outside world descriptions that a more omnipotent perspective or third person.
There's no clarity provided by exposition.
Not. Yeah, and that was a fucking fantastic choice that they did narratively, and it works really well. No, is it for me? It's hard to get new and current books for Black Library, just where I live, because it's like a fucking hick town.
Have you read Master? Are you going to read Master of Mankind?
I am absolutely going to read Master of Mankind.
Oh my god!
And it's about the Emperor.
Oh my god!
I just need to find a fucking copy.
Nathan, you need to read this book. It is
that shit's gonna melt your brain.
It is by far the best Horus Heresy book written, bar none, hands down. It might be the first one I read twice.
Honestly, like it
I've read Betrayer 3 times, so that's going to be a tough bar.
It was an excellent book. Like the Master of Mankind was really, really good. The Korax, even again, it was another short story compilation. It had a good longer story built into the end of it. I'm enjoying.
I have such a fucking 180 turn on Korax. From everything before Deliverance Lost to after Deliverance Lost?
I'm Conrad Kurtz for life. Like, if I was going to pick a single Legion and tattoo it on my body right now, it would be fucking 7th Legion Night Lords in a fucking moment.
And you've read everything from Imperium Secutus?
I haven't yet, because again...
Oh, no! You have to!
I know I need to. All of those books were coming out when I was moving. And basically, my Heresy reading list broke. But no, like I said, that's why, for me, I don't give any fucks about whiny, emo, diet Night Haunter. He can go suck on all them dicks while listening to Linkin Park and putting
He's
his
good.
fucking
He's
eyeliner
good
on.
in
I
Pharaohs.
just do not give a shit
No.
about Korax. He is the worst Primarch in the world.
Oh, he is. I am all over you with that one. He is in his in his big book in Deliverance Lost. He looks like such a fucking idiot.
Listen, Deliverance Lost was the best Alpha Legion book we had until
Right?
Victorian of Dorn, okay?
So-
Because, like, Legion was all about their agents, and you never got to see Alpha Legion being incredible. Deliverance Lost was, again, just
Korax-
an incredible Alpha Legion story.
Korax
and then
is amazing
Victorian
up until Deliverance Lost, and everything he does before Deliverance Lost, you just forget about because Deliverance Lost is so bad for him.
Well,
What do you mean he's amazing? Like the time that Conrad Kurz whoops his ass and he literally cries into his mascara as he flies off. Like, my son's like, oh my god,
Good old
Korax
Islam.
is such a fucking bitch.
All
I
right.
hate.
So
I hate him.
we're a little bit split on the books because we haven't all read stuff, so we're not going to go too much into
Read-
spoilers.
Oh
Okay,
my
listen, Lang, shoot me a list of shit that I need to like buy online, and I'll start
Yes.
to read. through
Okay,
it.
and I'm also going to provide you. I'm going to provide
In
you
order.
with.
Okay, everything Imperium Secundus and then Master of Mankind.
I'll send you some of the audiobooks I have too.
Oh no,
So
maybe Master of Mankind first. I don't know.
fuck that. You do it then.
I
I'll
will-
send you
I-
TV shows.
I will send you the reading list.
All right, so
It's difficult between all those because those are all the best books so far. They're all
we,
so
we,
good.
we have a bit of time. We're going to let this run a little bit longer. I want to give the chat last opportunity to ask some questions. You can ask us questions about anything you guys want. Maddie and I are going to talk about garbage movies.
Hold on one
for,
second.
for about 5 minutes.
Madden Drop Bear said all things coming out for Blend Angels to seduce him again. I would like to talk about
So ask your questions in the chat while Matt's talking.
the Blood Angel book from Horus Heresy, the one that actually involves Blood Angels, where they are on Cygnus Prime. I think it's called
Fear to Tread.
Fear to Tread. Wow, that book is such a fucking DC movie for me, where there's a lot of amazing stuff that happens, and then there's a lot of trash to trudge through. And James Swallow is always like that with Blood Angels. His writing is so fucking hit or miss, where he can make.
But his Garrow stuff is really
His
good.
Garrow stuff is very good.
Okay,
And
listen.
all his short story stuff is amazing, but his Blood Angel stuff is like, ooh, like that book satisfies so much stuff, but then there's so much to trudge through for all the stuff that doesn't involve Sanguinius in that book is terrible.
Right.
And
See,
then he
I
writes Sanguinius
disagree.
and then he writes
I
Sanguinius like it's
disagree
fucking
on that.
amazing.
I agree with you that the book is very hit or miss. For me, when I was reading Fear to Tread for the first time, and this was in a very anti-Blood Angels frame of mind.
He hates him.
The default Blood Angels frame of mind, I would argue.
The default Blood Angels frame of mind. But no, so like I said, I really didn't care about it, and I found that Sanguinius was super preachy, and I hated him. But the first half of that book, I felt, did an excellent job of making it like a really interesting horror book. I felt that James Swallow's pacing was very good. I mean, we obviously, as the reader, knew that there was some chaos shit going down, but he was still able to create a lot of tension in the scene, and he did a good job of diffusing it so you don't get fatigued. Compare that to, say, Damnation of Pythos, where David Annandale tried to do that and is just a shittier writer, where he'd be like, something spooky is coming, and you don't know, and oh my god, it's in the closet and it jumped out at you, and you're like, fuck off.
I didn't
like,
watch
I
that. I
hate
didn't
this.
read that book.
Every 3 pages you're doing this dumb shit. But I felt that all of that first half of Fear to Tread was very well written, and it could have literally not been a Space Marine book. But as soon as you get into Act 3 of that book, and it's all just like, and Blood Angels are being Blood Angels, and woo, we're coming from the sky, and oh, we're so crazy and bloodthirsty, what's happening? Bullshit. It was such unreadable trash at that point, because it was every Space Marine battle that I've read for 30 other books that was just over the top and dumb.
So one of the questions that we had in the chat is, have you guys seen or would you like to see a movie called What We Do in the Shadows? I think I might actually be the only person who knows anything about that movie.
You are correct. I
I haven't seen it. It is a movie that stars Jermaine Clement, who, if you've ever seen Flight of the Conchords, it's a comedy. It's kind of a dark comedy about vampires. I haven't seen it. I was going to watch it with my brother, and then we just never got around to actually watching it. I do want to see it. I've heard it's very funny, but it's one of those movies that just kind of got caught on my back burner, and I just never actually got around to watching it. But if you like Jermaine Clement and you're interested in stuff like that, I would recommend that you watch Legion. So we had the first 8 episodes. The first season of Legion came out on FX. It was really good.
Oh, you're not talking about that shitty Angel movie. I was like, why would I watch that?
No.
That
Not the one with
that movie's bad.
The other guy from not the one with the other guy from the Tremors from Smoking Aces. Kevin Durant, I think is his name.
No, I thought it was the guy from I thought the guy who...
Oh, Vision. No, Vision was in the other Angels one.
No. There's another one?
There's another one where he's in the desert. But no, Legion was a shitty Angels movie, and the guy who plays Gabriel is the tall, mute, dumb Tremor brother from Smoking Aces.
I thought he was the guy from
That's a great conversation. Let's save it for later. So,
what movie am I thinking of?
Yeah, I got it, Nathan. So one of those things, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. We don't have any more questions. We had one question said I missed the beginning. Are we going to talk about 40K 8th? We did talk about 40K 8th. You can check this out. The playback is on Twitch. You can go watch it from the start, or we will be posting it edited on YouTube. We will also post the audio as well. That being said, we're done. We're done.
The movie was Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions. Thank you, Nathan.
The main guy from Cruel Intentions.
This is what I deal with, Nathan. So check out Legion. If you haven't watched Legion, it's about an X-Man character named Legion. And it's really cool. It's really artfully done. The cinematography is really cool. It's very colorful and incredibly fucked up. So, it is a super cool superhero movie. And it's actually done by Matthew Vaughn and Bryan Singer, who did the good X-Men movies except for X-Men Apocalypse. All right, so are we going to be doing this more? We're going to try to do this more. We don't have a schedule set. We don't have a real plan. Everybody's kind of got different schedules. I do want to try to do it. Skype is a possibility for it. This, again, was a tech test, kind of a pilot episode, just a chance for us to get together and shoot the shit. I think our goal right now is to try to do this on a monthly level where we can actually talk for about 2 hours and go for it. But again, time differences being what they are. What time is it where you are right now, Nathan?
1:10 a.m. and I am fucking tired.
So it is 11 where we are. So even if we start a little bit early, it becomes a little bit problematic. So we've got a little bit to discuss. We're gonna take a look at it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, my name is Lang.
I'm Maddie.
Nathan.
Have a good one.
Oh shit! You're fucking stepping over me. I
pointed at him to fuck with you.
Okay, do you want to try it again?
No.
Peace.
No.
This isn't the podcast. This is a whole new thing, man. This is a whole new thing, Nathan.
Are we trying a new ending?
No, we're not doing anything. I didn't open with pour something flammable into your glass because this isn't the pod. This isn't Jaded Gamercast anymore. It's Jaded Gamer Show. I have a cue card. The safe word is Tiamat. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Cheers.